In this video, we will see how to find the shortest distance between 2 points on a Cartesian plane. So for that I have created one table called as points. Let me query the table. So this is our table which has a column called as X and another column called as Y. So each of the records are different Cartesian coordinates. That is, each of these represents a point on the plane. And what we have to find is, we have to write a query to find the shortest distance between these points rounded to 2 decimals. So the first part is we have to write a query to find the shortest distance between these points. The first pair is -1, -1. The first Cartesian coordinate is -1, -1. The second coordinate is 0, 0. The third coordinate is -1 and -2. So we have to find distance between each of the points and we have to see which is the shortest distance between these points. So for that we will be using three concepts in the video. So the three concepts will be, first is cross join. Then the second one is we will be using a function called as power. Then the third one will be SQRT, which is square root. So using these three we will be able to solve the query. The first part is we will start with the cross join, because we have to cross join the points table with the same table and create a new table. First we will do the cross join. Select start from the table is points. Let us give an alias name called as P1 and let us cross join the table with the same table points, that is P2. Now let us run the query and see what is the result we are getting. Now we can see that we got, this is P1x1, P1yy, sorry, P1x and P1y, and the second one is P2x and P2y. Let us give that name also here, because then it will be clear for us when we calculate. So instead of the star I will give P1.x as P1x, comma, P1.y as P2y, comma, sorry, P1y, then P2.x as P2x, P2.y as P2y. So we have given name for all the four columns, so it is easy for us to understand. Now let us run the query once again. We can see that we have 4 columns. Now what we have to do is we have to find the distance between each of these points on the Cartesian plane. So for that we will be using an equation, that is, this is the equation. So distance between the 2 points will be x2 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus y1 whole square and square root of the result that we are getting. So here the point x2 will be p2x and x1 will be p1y and y2 will be p2y and y1 will be p1y. So we are going to write the equation for this one. So let us keep this inside a subquery. Then we will write a query outside this one and we will find the result. So let us keep this inside a subquery. We will give an alias name also, so that is B, and above that we are going to write the query. So we will start with select. Let us go back to the equation and see our first term, that is x2 minus x1 the whole square. So the first thing is we have to subtract p2x minus p1x, that is p2x minus p1x, and then the operation is we have to find the square, that is, here we won't be able to put this bracket and put square in SQL. So instead of that we will be using the function called as power. So the function is power. We will put this inside bracket and after the first argument, so this is the x term, then after that we'll put the power, like which power we want. If we want cube, we will put 3 instead of 2. Similarly, any number we can put. So we'll close the bracket. Now we have the first term, that is x2 minus x1 whole square. Now we have to find the second term, that is y2 minus y1 whole square. So same thing. Here we will put a addition then power of p2y minus p1y comma square. Now we have the term inside the square root, that is this term we have completed. Now we have to find the square root of this term, that is the square root of this term we have to find. For that we'll put the function SQRT. Inside the bracket we will put the complete term. Also we'll close the bracket and we'll give an alias name as distance. Now we got the equation for the distance between 2 points. Now we'll put a from clause and let us run the query. But there is a mistake in the query, I will explain that. Now if I run the query, we will get the shortest distance as 0. Sorry, we will get distance as 0 because there are a lot of distance where it's zeros are coming. So it is because, see, we did a mistake when we cross joined the two tables. So let me run the inner query once again. I will show you. So we have to find distance between different points. We don't have to find the difference between or the distance between same points, that is 0 0 0 0 we don't want to consider. Also similarly minus 1 minus 1 minus 1 minus 1 we don't want to consider because obviously the difference between the same points will be 0. We don't want to consider that. In our question they are asking us to find the shortest distance between the 3 points. That was given in the points table, that is these 3 points. So we don't want to consider or we don't want to find the distance between the same points. So inside the cross join we will write one more condition in order to eliminate that same coordinates getting repeated. We will write a where clause inside the cross join. So inside the subquery, after the cross join, after points p2 we will write where p1 dot x not equal p2 dot x or p1 dot y not equal p2 dot y. Now let us run the query and inner query or the subquery and let us see what is the subquery giving us. Now if we run the subquery, see we can see that the number of rows reduced. Now we don't have the same data getting repeated in the two tables, that is we don't have p1 x1 and p2 x2 as the same value. So now we have 0 0 minus 1 minus 1. So the coordinates are different now. Now let us find the distance between the points. We have already wrote the equation for the distance. Now let us run the query and we will get the distance. Now I will execute the query. Now we got that these are the distance between each of the points. Now if I want the coordinates also, so before the square root I can put a star and we'll get the coordinates as well. So I have put a star there, putting a comma, then if I run the query I will get the coordinates as well. Now if I run I will get the coordinates as well as the distance between the points. Now the question is asking us to find the shortest distance between these points. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this query also inside a subquery, or I'm considering this query as a subquery, the entire query, and giving an alias name, and outside that I'm going to use the minimum function, that is select min of the distance. As shortest distance, I'm giving the column name as shortest distance. Now also in the question it is given that we have to round it to 2 decimal points. So I will use the round function, that is round, put all this inside the bracket, and after this minimum distance put a comma and put how many decimal points we want. Now after this I have to put a from clause also here because I am taking all these from the subquery. Now if I run the query I will get the minimum distance. I haven't run the query from the previous subquery, we know that 1 is the minimum distance between the 2 points, or 1 is the minimum distance between all of these points. So our result should be 1. Now let us run the query and see what is our result. Now if I run the query, we can see that the shortest distance is 1. And also similarly, we can find multiple things like correlation coefficient, and different concepts we will be able to solve using this kind of operations. Thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe if you like the video. Thank you.